If you love God and are in business, I want you to watch this video all the way to the very end. I believe the Lord has a message for all of us business owners, myself included. The Lord has been sharing things with me over the past week or so, literally walking me through these things, taking me through some things specifically so that I could come on here and to highlight these things here for you. And so I pray that if anything that I share in this video is uplifting to you, encouraging to you, eye-opening, thought-provoking, cause you to ponder, cause you to pause, then I would ask you to consider liking this video. But I would also ask you to consider subscribing to the channel. I'll be sharing daily videos with you moving forward. They're going to help encourage you in the faith. They're going to help give you strategy for your life and for your business right now in this hour. And so with that being said, let's jump right into it. And so the first thing that God began to take me through and take me all the way back to the beginning is to highlight to you that the desire for entrepreneurship is there for a reason. God planted that idea. God planted that longing of entrepreneurship inside of you for a reason. And if you're anything like me, that idea or that vision and that hunger for entrepreneurship was probably placed inside of you at an early age. There's situations and circumstances in your life that have caused you to come up to this conclusion that you should be in the entrepreneurship lane. I know for myself, I grew up in South Central LA. I grew up on welfare. I remember what it was like living below and beneath the poverty level, going into stores, asking my great grandmother, the person who was taking care of me, could we purchase something, and just being told no over and over again. I thought no was my name at some point. You keep getting told no so much, and you start to have this desire that when you have the capability or when you have the capacity or the agency to do something different, that you would be in a position to tell your kids yes. And so these early things in my life started to plant seeds and to awaken the roots of what God had already planted. Now, another reason why some of you guys, myself included, have been led through this entrepreneurship journey is many times you have been mislabeled. You see, if you grew up in church, if you grew up being around church things, a lot of people who are called to entrepreneurship, who are called to the marketplace, initially someone may have spoken into your life and said, well, you're going to be a pastor, you're going to be a preacher, you're going to be an evangelist, you're going to be a prophet, you're going to be one of these titles that people carry in the church. And I truly believe God is and can use you in that type of capacity. But right now, God is calling people who have been mislabeled to the marketplace. If you have experienced any type of rejection in the church, any type of hurt in the church, a lot of that rejection was simply God's redirection so that you could be open to understanding that his plan for you was slightly different. It's not going to follow the same blueprint or the same framework that everyone else is growing through. And so I remember from as soon as I was like 7 years old, people began to tell me I was going to be a pastor, I was going to be a minister, I was going to be a deacon, I was going to be an elder, I was going to be a prophet, I was going to be all these different things. And one of the, I guess, reoccurring visions that people would speak over me as soon as I was 7 years old is that they could see me with a microphone in my hand, leading people and speaking to God's people. And that's what I do right now every day in entrepreneurship. I am in this gap where God has and is using me, and I believe God is going to use you in the same way, where you're connecting the things that are happening in the marketplace and bringing people their attention back to God in a way that's not traditional, that's outside of the norm. And so if you're watching this video all the way to this point right now, I want you to lean into this, what I'm getting ready to say. God is getting ready to show you to do something new. He's getting ready to give you some type of witty idea, witty invention, a strategy, an implementation plan to begin to shift the trajectory of your life, to begin to shift the trajectory of your business. But we must be open to the pivot. We must be open to the change. We must be open to doing something new and not simply relying on our own strength. The Lord showed me this through 1 Chronicles 21 today. One of the things that we can see in this particular passage, and I'll close kind of on these 2 points, is that we can see that David began to number the people, number all the fighting men in Israel. And sometimes we can rely so heavily on our strengths, rely so heavily on the things that we may be known for, or rely on the things that people have told us. You're going to be a pastor, you're going to be all these things. And then we forget to just completely surrender and trust in God, and trust in God's leading, trust in God's direction for our path on an everyday basis. And, as we can see, David eventually, he repented for not trusting God, for being essentially disobedient and causing this turmoil that happened in Israel. Essentially 70,000 people died as a result of his disobedience or displeasing God and not fully trusting what God was doing in his life in this moment. And I want to pose this question to you. How many people are perishing? How many people are living beneath? How many people are not living and experiencing life to the fullest because you won't accept what it is that you need to do in this area of entrepreneurship, in this area of business? I know we live in a social media age. One of the things that I hear from a lot of people every single day is people know that they're called to do video. People know that God is calling them to start businesses, but yet they're waiting for the perfect time to get started. And I want to let you know that there will never ever be this quote unquote perfect time. There will never ever be like this crack the sky moment and you get this revelation that this is what you're supposed to be doing. You have to trust and know that this is the place that God has placed you in. You've been strategically assigned to be able to do what it is that God is calling you to do right now. And one of the last things that God highlighted to me in this passage of 1 Chronicles 21 was something very profound that David did say, was when he was given specific prophetic instructions by the seer Gad to go and make an altar for the Lord. He went and he purchased this threshing floor so that he could build an altar. And the gentleman who he was doing this transaction with wanted to give it to David as an honor to bless the king. And one of the things that David said that stood out to me was so important that I think that God is speaking to us right now about our sacrifice, is David said that he would not offer anything to the Lord that didn't cost him anything. He would not offer anything to the Lord that was not a sacrifice. And so there are maybe things right now that's coming up in your business, and it feels like you continue in business, you continuing in this ministry, which is a marketplace ministry and a marketplace anointing that's on your life right now. To continue in this vein is a sacrifice. But I want to let you know that what you do for God is worth sacrificing for. What we do for God is worth sacrificing for. And so if you're watching this video right now, I pray that this video blesses you. Make the sacrifice that you need to make right now. Do the thing that God is telling you to do, even if it's new, even if it's scary, because this redirection was on purpose. God is getting ready to reveal to you witty ideas, witty inventions, witty strategies so that you can prosper in the marketplace, and that ultimately through your business, through the products that you create, through the marketing, through you being a CEO and leading your team, you're going to be able to show to people the light of Christ and begin to be an evangelist, quote unquote, but in the marketplace. You're not going to do it in a traditional pulpit. It's going to look different. And so God bless you guys. I pray this video bless you. I'll talk to you very soon.